And our final presenter today will be Hunter from Ripe Robotics. Hunter, if you are on and ready,
Oh, thanks for that. Well,
you have the
I'm
floor.
here. Can you? Beautiful. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having us, everyone. My name's Hunter. I'm from Ripe Robotics. We're working on the on machines to automate fruit harvesting. So we sort of came at this from with fresh eyes when we started this project about a year and a half ago, having come from engineering rather than from agriculture. And when we're looking at the problems, we sort of realized that if you have a machine going through, like able to drive and navigate through orchards and able to assess fruit on a tree and reach into any part of a tree, you're 90% of the way to solving multiple problems on these orchards. It's a small jump then to optimize it to pick fruit and pick different varieties of tree fruit. And also in the longer term to do thinning and pruning and precision spraying, and also to gather data while you're doing all of that. So if you can start with a base machine that can be optimized and upgraded in these different ways, then it should be possible to do multiple things and do them in a way that's actually even better than if you were just doing one task, because you can integrate the data from across the season, and you can learn things from picking different varieties. So far, we've built a prototype to do this. This is Clive. You can put Clive next to an orange or an apple tree, and it will assess the fruit on the tree, assess if it's ripe and able to be picked, and find the best angle to pick it from. And then it'll move in and attempt to harvest it. You can see it here. It's picking some of the fruit. It's also missing a lot, and it's running a little bit more slowly than it should. But it's a proof of concept that sort of shows that we are able to harvest the fruit under ideal conditions, and now we're working on improving that and getting it to a commercial level, a level where it's running reliably and fast enough that it would make sense to scale and expand. So to that end, this is our commercial robot Eve. We designed it after doing the tests on Clive, and it's an iteration of that design. So one of the key things here is that with a machine that you're trying to get to do multiple things, it's very important that it's modular and upgradable. Which I think lots of other people have touched on here. It should be possible to unbolt entire components of the machine in the field and replace them. So you can change the end effector to do different types of fruit and different tasks, or you can change parts of it as you come up with better ways of doing things. You don't want to be stuck with an obsolete machine if the technology gets better over a period of only a couple of years. So this design, Eve, can do everything that a human picker needs to do. It can assess fruit on the tree and pick it and transport it into a normal fruit bin with a bin filler, and then put the bins down and swap them in the field for an empty bin. And this is what Eve looks like today. It's actually what Eve looked like 2 or 3 weeks ago. The other part of doing this is that if you're having an upgradable machine that needs to do multiple, or that can do multiple tasks, you need to have the infrastructure there to actually support it. You need to be able to upgrade it and have the people there to upgrade it, and people to look after it in the field, rather than trying to interface with many different growers. It makes more sense that one person knows everything about the machine and can look after the machine and move it to whichever farm needs to be using it at that time. So we set up facilities like this. This is our facility in Shepton, where I am at the moment. We have technicians in the facility. They build the machine on site in the region where it's going to be used, and then they look after it in the field. They do all the maintenance, refueling, monitoring over the internet, and moving it to where it's needed. So that's all done locally by the people. And so building a machine that's very simple to do that and can be assembled on site is very important here. And so we use, to enable that, we use a simple design and lots of off-the-shelf modular components. With that in mind, it makes sense to make it as easy as possible for growers to use the system, because it's not because it's improving over time. It wouldn't make sense for growers to have to put down hundreds of thousands of dollars for a piece of equipment that might be just barely commercializable now, but in 5 years we're expecting it to be significantly better. So we charge by the bin, and we'll continue to charge by the bin into the future, and work alongside human pickers. So we start with, say, one machine with 20 or 30 humans on an orchard, and then we can scale up the number of machines at the time. And we do ask for upfront deposits for those for the service. So paying for the first 200 or 500 bins upfront, and that goes to help cover the capital cost of the machine, which the company is having. And so it's different to a normal deposit because we are spending it partially towards building the machine, but then it's secured against the machine itself. And then in the long term, obviously the machines are going through the orchard and hopefully going through the orchard all year round, different orchards all year round. So they're generating a lot of data, which can be later analyzed by other systems and presented back to the grower to say exactly how large the fruit was, where it was becoming ripe, if there was any stress in the trees with wilted leaves or smaller sort of cross-sectional area of branches. Anything else that's visible through the sensors, we should be able to later analyze the data and present that back to the growers, in addition to the simple data, which we'll obviously share for free. So we're working in Australia at the moment. We have 3 trial customers who've signed up for that same system, so they pay for the bins we harvest. And we're working towards getting to a point where we're picking fast enough and reliably enough that it would be worth scaling the technology. Yeah, that's great here in Shepton. And right now the machine is heavily monitored by a human. So we want to maintain the high quality the entire way through. So as we reduce that human monitoring and reduce the human control and make the machine more and more automated, at each step we make sure that it's maintaining it at least human quality picking, and hopefully higher than above human quality, as far as avoiding damage to trees and avoiding the bruising of fruit. So this was done by myself and my co-founder Leopold Lucas. We're just a small startup working on this. My background is in engineering, and I did all the engineering work behind Clive and Eve. And Leo's background is in strategy and law and sales, and he also does the front-end development for our analytics platform. And we've got a great group of advisors and support from some of the industry in Australia. What we need right now is we're raising funding to continue the commercialization of the machine, aiming in the next 18 months to demonstrate that it's commercially viable. So right now you can take it out into the field, but it will because it's not quite fast enough, it's not quite reliable enough yet to scale. It's still trials. It's costing us more to run than it makes in harvesting, and so we're trying to flip that over the next year or year and a half. We're also looking to secure agreements with growers. So we set up these facilities in each region, and we need to know which region is most interested in having us. So securing agreements ahead of setting up and investing in these facilities, whether we do it in New Zealand or in Washington State or in California, we'd sort of need to know ahead of time where the most interest is. From growers right now, if we're looking for people to sign up to our commercial trial waiting list. So we've got our trial partners here in Australia, but we'll be signing up other commercial groups to do small scale first trials and picking in 2022 and possibly even late 2021 with the seasons. But really non-committal kind of thing, just showing us where the value is, where the interest is, and also showing that to the groups that we're currently trying to raise funding from. That's the other thing we'd love help from growers and grower groups from, is helping secure investment to keep this project going. Either through direct investment from growers would be fantastic, but also through help securing grants from industry groups and governments, and even just speaking to private investors and assuring them that this is actually an issue, and it does have a large problem that needs solving, and that there's support there and interest there from industry. So thanks for that. I was running through that quite quickly. So if we have any time, I'd love to take questions, or yeah, thanks for having me there.